Alelele mama, amala lelele. Oh, shake it for Africa, hey, do it for Africa. Mama lelele, oh lelele mama, oh shake it for Africa. Oh, you rise up and stand up for Africa.
See the whole world be looking at us, yeah, 'cause our land is honey, all the future money, and see now, see Akijima, no asilali, see Atandi Mali, they want it, yo, they need it, man, we have it, yes, let the world come and taste this beautiful land.
I love my Africa, oh Africa, rise up. I love my Africa, I love Africa, rise up. We are one Africa, Africa, rise up. I love my Africa, beautiful Africa, rise up. I love my Africa, oh Africa, rise up. I love my Africa, I love Africa.
This is Voice and Faces from Africa Media Australia, and Claude Sherrod here. I have with me a gentleman from Canberra. His name is Jeff. Jeff, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Just introduce yourself to our audiences a bit so we know who you are.
My name is Jeff Mitshabu. I was born in the Congo, in Katanga in particular. Migrated to Australia 25 years ago, and I'm a scientist with a master's in agriculture, chemistry, and food products. Presently working for the Department of Agriculture in Canberra as a project officer. Been with this department for the last 17 years.
Well, that's a long time.
Oh yeah, quite a long time, and I kind of enjoy my adopted country, which is Australia.
Today we'll be talking about how Africans experience their life here. Tell us some of the good things and some of the not so good things about life in Australia. You've been around for quite a long time anyway.
Well, Australia is an orderly country with rules, laws, and policies. When someone migrates to Australia, the first thing you need to know is to know his rights, to know the law, to live within the law, and to respect the law of the land. I'm aware that most of us coming from Africa, especially French-speaking Africa, when we come to Australia, we encounter two problems. The first one is isolation. The first thing we need to do is to learn the language, the culture, and the law so that we abide by them, and we find that everything will be easier. Generally speaking, Australians are a friendly people. They welcome everyone who respects the laws and the culture. Respecting the law and the culture of the new country doesn't mean we have to ignore our home culture,
Now, you told me that you've been around for about 25 years. Do you see any significant difference from when you arrived to Australia to today?
Well, Australia has changed over time. When I first arrived, I could walk the street of Sydney even for a year without seeing an African. I live in Moruga. I remember back in the early 90s, there were only 3 Africans, a Zambian, a Nigerian, and myself. And then a year later, I found a Congolese guy who had been living here for 30 years. How happy I was, because I was able to speak with him in French and also a little bit of Lingala, because he speaks Lingala.
Talking about some other aspect of life in Australia, you mentioned earlier that there's quite a bit of isolation that affects many people. Tell us more about that.
Well, the isolation, I'll give you an indication. When I'm in the street of Kinshasa, Lubumbashi...
That's for some of the cities in the Congo?
Yep, or any city in Africa, I can go and talk to people. I don't need to phone them,
Mm-hmm.
You can chat, you can share experiences. In Australia, if I have to visit someone, I need to give him a call because everyone is busy. The best way of breaking the chains of isolation would be to organize functions, such as a little barbecue in a park where we call people, from Africa. We share experiences, we share thoughts. We try to teach our children the culture, So that's one way of breaking that isolation chain,
Okay. But then if people are busy, and then even if you organize a barbecue, they may not necessarily show up.
Well, I don't believe that we are all busy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, that we couldn't even share 1 hour every 3 months or every 6 months. We get together, you know.
I see.
So we see other communities, they do it.
You know, many communities have their own, whether it's community center or even aged care facilities and many such things. But African communities are not quite there. It's just because it's just still a relatively small community, or people are not organized enough.
I don't think it's due to the size of the community. We can go back to the past. We Africans, we lost our sense of spirituality, you know. By losing that one, then we lost our sense of humanity. Because I can bet you that an African will not want to see another African succeeding. You know?
Why is
We
that?
need to break that mentality. We need to be able to show to other African love, regardless of where they come from. You know? We need to love one another.
You have been in New South Wales for a while, in Sydney most of the time, and recently in Canberra. It looks like the dynamics there of the African community in New South Wales is a bit different, like from Victoria. Do you agree?
I don't think it's different because I was once the Secretary General of the African Communities Council, and I can bet you 20 years ago we had 3 organizations representing Africans at large. When one guy who was the chairperson was voted out, he went to create another one, and then the other one went to create another one. So they are so divided. In Sydney and on New South Wales, how many Congolese associations they have? Maybe 5. Why not creating only one? Why are they splitting to create so many? You know, which is a pity. To be respected in Australia, we need to follow the example of the Vietnamese. When the Vietnamese came to Australia with speak English, they managed to educate their children. Today you can see their children are lawyers, medical doctors, scientists, and so on, professionals, you know. To be respected in Australia, there are 3 things you can do. Either you're a very wealthy person, you're highly educated, or you're a celebrity, either in soccer, in rugby, or whatsoever.
All right, and maybe before we finish this interview, just give us a couple of tips or more for what we may call life lessons that you have learned in your journey in Australia, and what may have made a difference for you to get you to where you are.
Never give up on something. Continue until you achieve. And before you do something, ask yourself, what am I going to achieve? What am I going to gain by doing this? How it will impact on others? And if it will impact negatively on others, don't do it. But if it's going to impact positively on others, do it. And be prepared to run the risk. I would say that in French, qui ne risque rien n'a rien. If you're not prepared to run the risk, you'll not achieve.
What would you tell new arrivals, people coming to Australia recently who are still sort of navigating their way through integration, who may want to understand some of the cultural tenets of the Australian culture, things that will make it easy for them to interact better with Australians and sort of be able to mingle in the best possible way? What are some of the things, maybe 2-3 things you can tell that will work with Australians?
The first thing they need to know is to learn the language and to learn the culture of Australia and to respect the law of Australia. If not sure, they should ask. There is nothing, good than asking for information. Try to find information and work within the law. That's the key success to integration.
All right, that's very good, Jeff. I suppose we can summarize that as people need to get out there in order to avoid isolation, find opportunities to meet together, both within their own communities and within the wider community, learn the language, stay within the law. And Jeff, I want to thank you very much for your time to Africa Media Australia. We appreciate your time, and we'll be